welcome to an update video with Caballero. So just a little bit more information for you guys. There were so many comments and a lot of views on his video and about me being a last resort for him and lots of opinions on that. So I just wanted to give you a little bit more info on him. So he's a 4-year-old Carbondino foal, and he's got some full siblings that are actually competing at the Royal Winter Fair and A circuit level hunters and stuff like that. So he's a very well-bred gelding, and his owner definitely got him physically checked out. He had a full set of x-rays done. There were a lot of comments about how when a horse has a bucking issue or things like that, that you should do a physical assessment. I 100% agree with you, and definitely this horse was fully vetted out. His teeth, x-rays, like everything, chiropractor, all that kind of stuff has already been done. And so that's one of the things when I take on horses for the Second Chances program, I want the horse to have already been physically cleared for soundness, because I'm not a rehab facility. I only have a small farm of 10 acres here, so it takes a lot for me to take on a horse. I only take a couple. I don't have a ton of time, and I don't have a ton of space, and I definitely don't have the room to be keeping horses on just like stall rest forever. So that's a really important thing to me. Evelyn is starting to be fed in the background there, so I'm going to hope that I can get through this session before that happens. But I'm going to kind of show you a little bit of some of the stuff we've been working on. I'm hoping that we'll actually try some mounting today. Let's go put a soother in Evelyn's mouth, and then we're going to do some training with Caballero.
Alright, so Evelyn is happy, and now we are doing the training session with him. And I just wanted to show you what he looked like kind of in the beginning, where he wasn't super comfortable stopping between the pool noodles or stopping with them behind his bum. So I was working on that, where we could stop under the pool noodles using this exercise or using this obstacle, because it's got things at the sides, it's got things over top. So it's a really good test for how ready a horse is going to be for a rider, because a rider is going to sit on top of the horse. And so it's a handy little trick to use that, and just moving the pool noodles around up on top of him, just because when I'm going to go to ride him, I'm going to move around. And so I wanted to show you a little bit of the before, where he was a little bit unsure and kind of backed out. And then I worked on it for a little bit, and this is kind of a look towards the end there, when we were wrapping up doing this obstacle, that I could move the pool noodles around and he could stand for me as I'm doing that. And then, because we always want to do things from both sides of the horse, in a second here I'm going to switch sides and do the other side, moving things around. And that's just because when we go to ride the horse, we want the horse to be equally comfortable out of both the left and the right eye, because we're sitting up in the middle, which means he's going to potentially move his head left and right and see me out of both eyes for sure. So I did a little bit of work there, moving him with those pool noodles around his back, and then practicing stopping with them kind of behind him or at his tail area, and made a lot of progress with that as well. And that's just important, because if the horse is lacking confidence anywhere on their body, then it's going to make riding them that much more difficult. So we just want to make sure we build up that horse's confidence, so that way things can be kind of all around them, and then they're much set up way better for success when it comes to actually having a human being get on their back. Plus, you never know when you're accidentally going to stumble on a horse, whether you kind of maybe fall backwards or forwards a little bit. You just want to make sure that the horse isn't going to have a meltdown when that happens. So we practice all of this stuff in the beginning. So that went super well, and then I went on to doing some bridges with him. And whether we're doing it to build confidence about going over top of something, or just in terms of how he solves puzzles, it's just good for him to practice this kind of different stuff, so he can learn how to be a good student. So you can see in the beginning, he avoided putting his back feet on the bridge, and we worked at it, and putting his back feet on, not an issue afterwards. And he seems pretty calm. Like he's really improved so much in terms of being a way better student. In the first video I shared with you guys, he didn't really know how to learn, and he was kind of afraid to try. He didn't want to look at the bridges. He didn't want to think about them. And then he's really come out of his shell and really enjoys positive reinforcement. It definitely works really well with him. Here's a really good example here. We come to do the rolling bridge for the first time. So this is a bridge that's got kind of logs underneath it that allow it to move a bit. And so he's going to step up on here and it's going to slide. And you can see he hesitates for a second, but then he realizes that he's going to be rewarded. And he's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do that for a cookie. And even puts his back feet up and on the bridge there. So I give him some more positive reinforcement there and doesn't get upset when it kind of slides around. You can see he's just like, I earn a cookie, right? And so I still offer him that reward. And that's kind of what I like to see, that change where he starts to understand, oh, if I try, I get rewarded. And that's going to be really key when we go to do the mounting and eventually riding him, is if he understands that he's going to get rewarded when he does a good job or when he tries to do a good job, then that's going to really bring out the best in him, combined with the fact that he doesn't have to get upset if he does it wrong. So he's not allowed to be rude, he needs to have manners, but we really want that positive reinforcement piece, that motivation piece to be really high, because that's going to bring out a really good side of this horse. So I did a little bit of confidence building as I went down to the other end of the arena, and then my goal was to do some mounting work. So if you want to see the full video of his session, then hop on the Connection Club and the video will be there for November. I'll be posting, and but otherwise I'm just kind of showing you guys a little bit of the highlights in the beginning, how I worked on bringing him towards me, and he remembered this from our last session that we did. He did some of this getting the treat from the opposite side, so he remembered that really nicely. A little bit trickier on this side, reaching on the left side of him to give him the treat. You can see he's kind of got confused ears that are kind of saying, hey, like, what are you doing? The ears kind of to the side. They're not angry, they're not pinned ears, and a lot of times people get confused between pinned ears and thinking ears, where they're just kind of out to the side and he's kind of wondering what the heck I'm doing. And you can see he figures that out and he does pretty darn good with that. So then it's time to up the level of difficulty. And again, the full video is in the Connection Club, but I'm just sharing some highlights for you guys. So you can see I've got my leg up and over and testing that out and offering the positive reinforcement. And because I want him to bend his body to me when he's at the mounting block, I'm give that cookie on the opposite side of his neck. And you can see he's figured that out really well. Horses tend to pick up things pretty quickly when there's food involved, that's for sure. And so he's figured that out pretty darn quick. And so here, just asking him to stand quietly. You can see I'm fully on his back. And the first thing I do is just tell him that he's being a good boy and offer that positive reinforcement. Give him some nice hugs and let him know that he's a super awesome man. And as far as I know, he wasn't even letting people get on him at all. So this is really key moment in our training, that everything's going really well and really rewarding, and he's having a really good experience. And you can see that I go ahead and get on from the opposite side on the other side now, and you can see he's doing that really nicely. Give him that positive reinforcement and then hop off, because I want it to be a good experience for him, and for him thinking like, yeah, that, letting a person on my back is not really a bad deal at all. It's okay.
Alright, so I'm going to finish his session there. I think he did really well. We didn't see any big bouts of tension come up with the mounting, which is really key. And then when we did the pool noodle exercise, he struggled with that and he overcome it. I had 2 pockeys full of cookies and he went through all of them. So that kind of goes to show how many challenges he faced, because I always reward my horses when they do something new or they do something challenging. So he's done a lot of stuff, and sometimes we can be tempted to do more. We can get greedy because the horse is doing so well. But one of the things that I'm really good at is recognizing, okay, we addressed a lot of challenges, we made a lot of accomplishments and for him, so we don't need to push it anymore. We're going to stop there while he's happy, and mounting was a good experience because I'm told that he wouldn't even let anybody get on him at all, like whether mounting block, throwing people up there, that he was at a point where he wasn't letting anybody mount him at all. So I'm really happy with that. We're making really good progress. And just, I know some of you guys were commenting about, why is she waving her arms at the horse? Well, I'm going to continue to use cookies and positive reinforcement with him because it's so good at breaking behavioral negative patterns. So he's learning a lot faster, it's rewarding for him, it's more relaxing for him. But part of that is I have to teach him his manners. So if he tries to bother me for treats while I'm talking to you guys, he's already doing way better than when he did his first video with you guys. But when he comes into my pockets like that, I'm going to shake my arms a little bit and get him to not bother me, because he needs to understand when he's going to be rewarded and when he's not. And it's kind of like taking your kid down the candy aisle when you go to the grocery store. If they're going to be rewarded or it's time to choose a treat, then go ahead and choose a treat or have a treat. But otherwise, I expect you to be able to walk down the candy aisle and not be like, chocolate bar? Chocolate bar? Can I have another chocolate bar? Oh, I want that chocolate bar. Chocolate bar? Chocolate bar? Like, no, that's annoying, that's irritating, that's poor manners. You need to understand that absolutely 100% I'm going to reward you sometimes, but you can't be bugging my hand the entire time for a treat, because I'm not giving you any indication that that's something you can do right now, and he knows that he has to earn his rewards. So I hope that clears that up a little bit for you guys. I'm super happy with where he's at today, and feeling pretty excited for his future. Of course, we haven't gone anywhere yet, but stay tuned for more progress with Caballero in the weeks to come.